Hello, hello, Ernst Peter here. This is the September edition of the TADUG user group meeting, and we are recording this September the 5th, 2018, and it's 6:30 in the afternoon here Eastern time. Our presenter is coming from far away. I'm gonna introduce him in a second, but I want already to thank Ernst Peter to be here this late at night or early in the morning in the Netherlands time. So again, I just want to start by saying thank you to Ernst Peter to be here this early in the morning. Okay, what do we have here? Let me get to. Okay, let's go through the agenda here as usual. I'm gonna go through some acknowledgements, some announcements, a little bit of group time. We have some new people coming up that are showing up, and I want to just mention the new people that sign up in the last month for our meetup. Then we're gonna go through the main presentation, which is about language package management, where to find them on the DNN Connect website, how to install them, how to manage that, and we're gonna get all the ins and outs from Ernst Peter today. And then we have our meeting wrap up. Great, so we have quite a good list of people. We have about 7-8 people. Good. Okay, so just first of all, a few acknowledgements here. Our sponsors, DNN for Less, a hosting company in the DNN space, with my buddy there, Jesse Haggerty from DNN for Less. We have also Easy DNN Solutions. They provided Damir provided a few modules for our website, and we have Andrew Hofflin as well from Hofflin Software. He gave us a hand putting together the website, so I just wanted to say thank you to our sponsors. Okay. Still have a few magazines which are still relevant. So again, guys, if you are coder, if you have any coding inclination, let me know. Send me your address. I have budget to mail that to you guys. I know that I've sent that to Daniel, and I sent to someone else in Toronto. So again, I still have a few editions of the magazine. So let me know your address, and I will mail that to you. Just send me an email to address@despot.me. Go ahead.
I got your stickers on my printer too.
You got your stickers. Let me see. Again, I'm all over. Let me see if I can see. Okay, I see that. Yes. So with the magazine, I'll put together a few stickers that the magazine sent over as well. So it's the magazine plus a few stickers. So and I just had one T-shirt, which I said that I would raffle that, and Daniel was the lucky one that got a T-shirt from Code Magazine. So very, very good magazine. Have you had a look at it, Daniel, by any chance?
Yes, I didn't read it in details, but there's very interesting articles. One of them that I read a bit more was some advice on converting Visual Basic to C# for old projects. Mm-hmm. And it's actually very, very valuable information.
You're talking about converting VB to C#, and there is a survey that Stack Overflow they publish every year about the most. They have a lot of stats there, and one of the questions, or in one of the segments, is about what is the most dreadful programming languages, and if I'm not mistaken, VB is. .NET is right up there, Anyway, just remind me about that,
Yeah, a little summary of that article. It's basically clean up your VB before converting, because VB was too loose. So you have to make it strict and correct your things in VB before trying to convert. And it does save a lot of time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dave Poindexter. I mean, if you want that magazine, I mean, you got here. I don't know if you heard me, but again, send me your address and I will mail that to you and to your team. Oh, he has already one. Okay, he's gonna show off. He's gonna show off. Oh, okay. You know what? Those are the perks of running a user group meeting. Of course, you'd have that. You don't need to show off, David. Thank you, man. Thank you. Okay. Moving on here. After David showing off, okay, let's talk a little bit about new members. I just want to bring a few. I decided to do something different this time around. Just want to mention by the name a few new members based on our meetup page. So I just want to say a hi to Crystal from New York. A hi to Auzin Hushang. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Auzin. From Thornhill, Ontario. So right around the corner. Well, not so much around the corner, but close by. I also want to say hi to Mark Balzin. Mark Balzin. I might bastardize your name as well, Mark. But again, very good to have you here, Mark, from Cincinnati, Ohio. And the last one, Sony. Sony is present there. Sony Carsana. Is that Carsana, Sony?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's longer than that, but it's hard to pronounce. And
good. Tell me what do you do with DNN, Sony?
Oh, just fill up some, like sites from my company's client. So, and well, I think we're not that big of a company, but we had a few clients that we put it on DNN. We bought some Mandeeps, like this theme and modules for their forms and sliders and all that. And well, we should be able to improve more. Like I'm glad that the Toronto user group is here again. So
awesome.
Yeah. And sorry about my camera here. My old laptop is.
No worries, no worries. That's fine. I mean, if you can hear us, we can hear you, and that's all good. So where are you located?
Oh, I'm in Toronto,
awesome.
Ontario, Canada. So I'm very close to you, Anderson.
Yes, as we were talking before we got recording. Yes, you are very close by. So I hope that you keep coming, Sonia. I hope that you find valuable. What are you looking for in the user group? I mean, what are your expectations here?
Well, I think some tips and all that. I mean, I have to learn a lot. So our side is, it's not that sophisticated yet. I mean, it's not that good yet. So yeah, perhaps you guys can help me with a few things in the near future.
Let me tell you this, aside of myself, you have a lot of smart people in this call right now that can help you quite a lot. Okay,
I know there's a lot of gurus here.
As I said, aside of myself. So again, just a big thank for everybody to be around. I mean, we have a bunch of well-known faces over there. We have Daniel, David, and Jason, John B. I think B is from Black. John Black there. Mike, Paul, and Sonny, and Steve. Steve, it's very good to see you again around here. Okay. Perfect. So let's keep going here. In terms of updates, I don't have much to talk about, aside from the fact that every month we put together the DNN monthly chat, which went out about a week or so ago. So if you want to get a full rundown of updates, you can check that video over there. However, the only one that I want to really bring to your attention is the fact that we have a new DNN release candidate that is live. that it's up, DNN 922. It has been up there for about 2 weeks, and I'm assuming that we should be a week or so away from having a final release from DNN 922. But again, 922 release candidate is out there. Remember that release candidates, you should not be using release candidates on your live sites. And I say that because just yesterday we have a client that decided to upgrade to DNN 922, which is just in a release candidate mode. And again, release candidate is not necessarily stable. You should not upgrade to a release candidate, but it's out there, and I think that within a week or so we should have a final release of that. Okay, moving on here, and let's see, resources. I just want to briefly talk about a new resource, and actually Ernst Peter here and there, he's there to help as well. I'm talking about an idea that I had a few weeks ago, which is called Open Friday, DNN Open Friday. So every Friday for the past 3 Fridays, plus the next one is coming up, in 2 days, we are coming together as a group, as a community, and there is a Slack channel that whoever wants to join to answer questions or ask questions, the channel is there. There will be people online. I'm usually there the entire time from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon Eastern time, and we are there to help people that has questions about module development, about administration, which modules you should use, you should not use, whatever questions you may have about DNN, whatever level you may, that might be, may require a coder, may require an admin person, may require a designer. Come together, join us, ask your questions. Hopefully, we're going to be able to help you right there and then. If I'm not able to help, if whoever is there is not able to help, I'm going to chase someone out there that might be able to help. Just to give an example, last Friday, someone was asking about Evoke. And I said, okay, this is about workflows and Evoke. I don't know much about that, but let me try to get someone that knows a lot about that. And then I reached out to Clint, and Clint reached out to someone in the support team of DNN Corp. So all of a sudden, we had a sales engineer from DNN Corp on Slack as well, answering questions from someone that was having some issues or had some questions about Evoke specifically. So again, if we don't know, I'm gonna chase someone that may know the answer, as I chased the other day Mitchell Sellers and some other people. So again, very good. And I want to thank again Ernst Peter to be there. Mike Smeltzer was there as well. Daniel, you were there. Daniel, who else? I mean, am I missing anyone here? That is the call. No, actually, those were the ones. So again, guys, thank you very much for being there to support the initiative. The idea was to run that for 4 weeks, and the last one will be Friday. The engagement has been growing, so as we are having more people joining, more conversations happening. So again, things are growing on the growing side of the graph. Whether or not we're gonna continue, whether or not I'll continue after this Friday, I'm not sure, but most likely we will. If it, because I see engagement going up, and again, if things are getting more engaging, I have more, I'd say, motivation to keep things going and keep pushing the community around that initiative. It will be interesting to have a discussion, conversation tomorrow with the awareness group and see if people are seeing value on doing something like this Open Friday. Daniel, can I get your 2 cents? Daniel, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a very good idea. I had a similar idea some time ago, but lack of time. It's unrelated to DNN, but there's a guy who does a lot of voice over IP stuff, and he does this thing. It's YouTube Live, and people, well, he's live and people can chat on the side. And he basically does 1 hour of ask whatever you want. And there's even people who, he has a lot of people, and you can sponsor your question. So you can ask for free, but if you pay, you get on the top of the list. And yeah, I thought it was a good idea. So
Awesome. Now that I'm looking on the side here, I can see faces that I haven't seen in a while. John, B, John, I see more gray hair there, you know, John? You might be muted, John. That's okay.
Here we go. Sorry. There's always a few more gray hairs somewhere. Nice to see you. And so I thought, my camera working, so I figured I'd turn it on.
Awesome. Very good to see you. Very good, John. Okay, so great. So again, DNN Open Friday will continue, you know, most likely after this Friday. And again, it's very good to have you guys there, Mike, Ernst, Peter, and Daniel helping out on that. So let's go to our main presentation here that will be done by Ernst Peter Tamminga. And once again, I want to give a big thanks to him for being here so late at night, you know, say thank you to your wife, Ernst Peter. And Ernst Peter will be talking about language pack management on dnnconnect.org, how to find it, edit, and add module language packages to DNN. So let me give a brief intro here about Ernst Peter. Let me see here. So let me see if I get this in order on my screen. Okay, so Ernst Peter is the CEO of Access in the Netherlands, working with DNN since 2003, motivated IT business consultant, senior project manager, IT legal expert, husband, father of 3, which should be all sleeping at this point, and grandfather of 4. Again, Ernst Peter, thank you very much for being here. I'm going to change the presenter to you. Thank you, Peter. Let me make you presenter. Okay.
Yep. I've been made presenter. Okay. Most people should be able to see my presentation screen by now. That says something like language pack management on dnnconnect.org.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me giving a presentation. It's a slightly modified version of the presentation that I gave on DNN Connect meeting in Ireland. And I think David and Mike were there as well. Maybe not with this presentation, but they were at the DNN Connect user group yearly meeting in Ireland, which was very nice. I've modified it a bit. I think you in Canada are suffering from the same problems that we have, namely that you have another language than the default EN US version. And in the Netherlands, we have Dutch. So we struggled a long time with how can we modify, change, edit, maintain language versions for our clients. Let me see. And I was not the one who started this, but I think Peter Donker, maybe 5, 6, 7 years back, Peter is in Switzerland. They have 4 languages there. He's originally Dutch, but he lives in Switzerland for 20 years now. And he estimated that having a different language and adding modules and translating different modules into their different languages is a lot of work. And most of the time, people are repeating all these kinds of translations for themselves and nothing else. And at some point in time, he created a number of modules. And one of them is the Language Pack Manager that is installed on the DNN Connect website. And currently, there are a large number of language pack for a whole assortment of languages, for modules and module versions. It's free for anyone who is interested in a particular translated module. I'm going to show you how people can, as anonymous, publicly find language packs over there. But the most interesting, he defined possibilities for people to contribute to the different languages in there. not only by just enhancing an existing pack or adding an existing language pack, but also distributing, managing, making different languages, making different cultures, and so forth. I want to show you as well. So those are the four main questions. Where can I find a particular language pack? If I'm looking for something, how can I help to make the translation? Or if you have made the translation already, how can I supply that to dnnconnect.org? And at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about the language pack module itself. I've done some small enhancement together with Peter, but there's more that can be done. Okay. What do I want you to know and do afterwards? First of all, if you have no language packs available, just give it a look, see what language packs are available and download them and install them on any kind of site that you're interested in. If you want to do a little bit more work, start adding new translations in there. It can be just one text element, or it can be multiple text elements or a whole pack. If you already translated modules, please make those modules available if you're willing to. And of course, spread the word that language translations are available at dnnconnect.org for free. And if you want to do some module development, I have a number of issues mentioned on the language pack module. And it would be nice if 1, 2, or 3 developers could enhance and help me a bit in improving the module in there, because I have a number of items that I experienced that could be a little bit better. First of all, credits. Most of the module has been developed by Peter Donker some time ago. There's more in the module than I'm going to show you. There's even a sort of repository and distributed language pack management behind Peter Donker, together with Vincenz, who's also very known for his translation work and internationalization work. They have defined a structure where language pack can be captured from different environments, but it never has been implemented in DNN. So at some point in time, they skipped it and they said, okay, then we're going to do it ourselves and install all the language packs and modules on the dnnconnect.org website. First of all, why should you start with a different module? Because DNN itself has some possible way to do translation of static modules, static text. And I'm pretty sure that you in Canada are a bit familiar with this structure. First of all, what most people do is copy the existing English regex files where all the text translations are, copied to their local culture code. For you, probably fr-cn, and then start adding that. Or you start using the host way of editing different parts of the language packs. Most people are a bit familiar with the system host and the site translation, but in general, that's the way how most people do the translation. I captured here one of the packs or one of the installations that we had for some clients some time ago. So that's how most people do the translation for their language. But there are some disadvantages to the way how it's implemented in the standard DNN way. First of all, it's local to your installation or your site or your portal. And doing some investigation in the Netherlands, my results were that a number of people were translating the same modules differently, but the same modules for different clients over and over again. And because translation is not an easy task, if you have a lot of text elements, you see that the translation is only done for 10% or 20% or 30%, but never for 100% in total. And the new problem comes along when there is a new version of a particular module. It's very hard if you use the standard DNN way to find what are new text elements that have been improved or changed in the new module, added to the module, or what text elements are gone. And at last point, it is not very easy to share the translation. You see that people do some translation in a particular module or particular installation, and that's it. And if they install a new version in a new site, they're probably going to copy some regex files or do some small translation again. So it's not complete. People are spending time over and over again, and then never was a way to share it easily. So thumbs down. And that's the second point where Peter Donker thought about. We should do it different. We should be a community, and especially if you're not in the America and only care for the EN US version, there should be better ways to share the efforts that we spend in doing translations. So there's a better solution implemented in dnnconnect.org currently. And I'm going to show you why this is a better solution than the previous one if you're working with the DNN standard way. What do I need to know about the language manager module? Well, essentially, it's much more efficient way to translate larger amounts of text. You don't have to do the translation all in once. You can do part by part, step by step. If you do 10 words today and maybe 20 sentences the day after and maybe 100 sentences next week when you have some more time left, it all adds up and you start improving and gathering the right way. You don't have to have a local DNN installation on your own website to contribute. If you're a module supplier and you want your module to be available in different languages, you don't have to have a particular installation of this particular module on your site, but you can just add this package or this module in dnnconnect.org and make the translation or the possibilities to do the translations available on DNN Connect. It's the easiest way to share the work, because you can see what has been done by one user and you can add the different translations for different text elements into other language if you want to. And of course, translation as such is tedious, I know, because the translation DNN version 1 at one point in time into Dutch, but translating the text again and again and again, or translating something that somebody has helped on already, it's just unnecessary work.
Ernst Peter, let me ask you a question. So from what I gathered from what you explained there is that the language package manager is a module that is installed on the DNN Connect website, and people can come in and use the facilities of the website to translate things, correct?
It's a module. You can download if you want to.
Okay,
if
you can
want to
download.
have your own set of translations, but you don't need the language pack module itself. It's available. I'll show you later on in the DNN Connect website, and you can use this particular module to do any kind of translation or any kind of extension module that you have. So this is just a facility.
Got it.
And the way because it's installed centrally in DNN Connect, anybody who goes to the particular website can find translations, or he wants to do a little bit more, he can get logged in, registered, get some rights, and he or she will be able to do a translation for a particular language for one of our modules. And if he or she does, at the end, it's available to anyone who goes to the site again. So you don't need the module itself. It's just a facility, a service that's available on the DNN Connect website.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. I'm going to show you a little bit. If you are just an anonymous user, it's very easy to find translations. Let me switch to DNN Connect. Go to the page that has the translation. I'm not logged in currently. I go to the community site, I go to translations, and that's the place where for different languages, different modules are made available. Here on the top, you see some introduction text if you want to do some work. Then you have what they call the localization editor, but essentially what kind of languages for different modules are available. Catalan, German, Espanol, French, Français, Gaulish, Dutch, Polski, Portuguese, Svenska, Turkish, Russian, and Ukrainian. And they exist there because people have supplied languages translated modules for a particular language in there. We did a lot of work for the Dutch one, so I'm going to show you a little bit. I'm not logged in. I just go to here and I say I want to look at a Dutch language pack available for Dutch. You will see that there are different variations. We have Dutch for Belgium. We have Dutch for Aruba, like you have French for people living in France, or you have French for people living in Canada. That can be different types of translations. I'm going to show you. It's a clever
I don't know
way.
for the other languages, but I know for French, like 99% it's going to be the same. What's going to change per location is mainly the currency symbols and stuff like this.
Okay.
So most people will be able to use French France for French Canada with almost no modifications unless it affects
You will see. Yeah.
money
Okay.
formats.
Right question. You will see later on that the language
Awesome.
module will do that automatically for you. You only specify the things that are different for your particular version of French.
Excellent.
So what I explained later on, most people, if they start to do the translation, they make a base translation for the base language, French or Dutch. And then you only specify the words or the items or sentences that are different for your specific dialect of this particular language. And the module will automatically copy over or inherit all the original translations. Okay, going to use to Dutch, the Netherlands, because there's a lot of items in there, I know for sure. We did a lot of translation formally and we just imported all those different translations in there. I'm still a public user. I'm looking for a particular language, for example, easy DNN use. And the latest version that is available on this particular site as a language pack is version 7.9, and it's 98% complete. And if I press this one, it will generate a language pack for me. And this language pack you can install as an extension because it contains the module, a definition, a setup, and all the different languages, resix files that are needed, in this case for a Dutch version. So people have spent time for this particular version to do the translation, 98% complete. And I assume already that it's 100% complete because some of the words are the same in Dutch as there are in English. So there's a whole list. Looking for a particular version in here, just download it and you're ready to go. At the top, there's some specific packages. If people have supplied a extension that in one extension zip file, there are multiple modules, the module language pack manager knows that there are different modules inside this one installation pack, and it can create a complete install pack for the combined modules that were in the original installation pack. So Easy DNN Use has a number of modules, Easy DNN Use, News Calendar, search and things, and it can rebuild it automatically.
Ernst Peter,
So
where is the, just to follow your example there, where is the core, the DNN core translation there, or it's not there?
No, because the standard Dutch, the standard languages that are supplied with DNN are Dutch, English, Spanish, French, Dutch, German, and Spanish. So there's no need to have it here. If I go back.
And a related question, let's say, I don't know, the announcements module, the latest version is 4.03 there, but can we have different versions?
Yep.
Or it's only going to show the latest?
It shows here the latest that has been implemented and translated, but you can also download previous versions.
Excellent.
So if the version 6 has been translated, but later on there's a version 7 and people have uploaded version 7, the system knows, okay, these are the text elements that were from version 6. They will be carried over automatically. And for version 7, there are a number of new text elements and you can translate only the differences in there. But if you want to download the language pack for version 6, it's still there.
Awesome.
If you were talking about the core language pack, if I take a language which I probably don't understand, these one, Russian, I'm not sure, but I think there are even core language packs for different languages that are not part of the standard DNN distribution set. So here you see a core language pack, in this case for Russian, Ukraina, something like that. And that's because one of the Russian persons in the community has made a core language pack for this particular language. And this was done for the latest version 0704. Some time ago there was a question, is there a Portuguese language pack? And it's done the same way. You can try to implement this particular version for version 9, but you're probably going to miss a lot of new text elements in there, change text elements.
Quick question here.
Yeah.
Quick question. When we see a component that is, for instance, DNN core is 65% done, if I would speak the language and I want to contribute and I want to, work a little bit on that, is it able to manage collaboration via this environment here?
You're speeding ahead for my presentation. That's correct.
I think so. But
No problem.
again, hold on that, and we can wait for later.
So this is essentially for the most simple ones. People want to retrieve information, see what kind of modules are already translated, and see what the amount of work has been done and at what percentage it's done. That's what I call the anonymous access to the website and just finding what's there done by others. Essentially, download the latest translation, select the language you need, select the module you're interested in, click on the disk icon if there is a particular translation available. My advice, question to users and webmasters, the translation packs are free. You just have to download and install this particular language pack and you're ready to go. Then a little bit about the module, how it handles culture codes and module version. And the clever thing about it is that you only have to do the things that are new or different. If I talk about French, you have the base culture code, FR, but there are a lot of derivatives that might be for 99% the same if you talk about the words that people use for a particular text elements. What people normally do is specify the translation on the highest level, the base level French, and then you go to your variation, your dialect, and you change only the ones that are different in your particular version of the language. So if Luxembourg has a particular name for super user, and for your French, it's a super utilisateur or something like that, but they have in Luxembourg a different name, they can specify this is my variation of this particular French translation. If you do afterwards, if you have not made any changes for your particular version, and later on somebody corrects the original base culture, your variation language pack will be automatically this change carried forward to your derivative. Unless you have specified your own word, then your word has a preference above the base culture code translation. If you get new module version, the translation packs or the system automatically inherit all the old translation. And it's sometimes something like object orientation, so it doesn't copy it over, it's just relaying back to the older translation of the older version, unless at some point in the version structure a new or changed text element is specified in there. And the clever thing, if you have a new version of a particular module, the module will help you, the language pack module will help you to see what the new text elements are for this particular new version of this extension, and you only translate the new text elements. And corrections, again, of an old version of your module are automatically carried forward to the new version. Level 1 session, anybody can help with the translation. Just enter some missing text elements. I think that was was one question, Edison, that you asked. Let me show you a little bit. Okay, back to this. And now I have to log in because I have to log in if I want to do some translation. I log in as one of the end user translation. I've used 2 accounts in this case to do the translation. This is a particular account, and for a number of small languages, I can make some changes. I've modified, so for this particular user that has logged in, this particular user is able to do translation for Dutch, and he's able to do the translation for French Canadian. Those are the rights that this particular user that are now logged in. My name is EPT Language Editor. I have modified, I've specified in the right system that I am able to do the Dutch translation, and I'm able to do the French Canadian translation. I see here a particular module, documents, version 6. In total, 81 text elements, and only 12% has been done. If I'm interested in the 12%, I just click the download and I get the language pack with the 12% that has been translated. And for the other 88%, I will relay back automatically by DNN to the EN-US languages. So it's just inherited. If I click the edit button, you see here I can specify, I'll show that later on. This is version 6. If I want to go back to translation of all the ones, I can go back at one. I can show me all the text elements in there. I'm going to show you and edit it back. Now it's going to show me all the different language res6 files and all the different translation. And you see here I've made some translations already. This is the key that is in the text file. You probably have to know the module a bit to make the right translation. This is the original text in there, and these are the translation that I've made for the base culture code Dutch. And if I specify something here, you see here, it just pops open the first resx file. If I say, okay, I go back, it's probably going to show me that there is a little bit more done than 12%. Let me go back to this level. Sorry, one step too much, but I will find it again. I go to my documents folder. Let me see, letter D. It's 15% because I edited some text. If I say it's only small, I can also specify only show me the text elements that have not been translated before. So if I'm interested in that, it's going to skip all the ones that have been translated to Dutch. And it's only going to show me the text element that have not been translated before. So this is the work if I'm a simple editor. And if I want to do a number of text elements today and a number of text elements day after and a number of text elements after that day, I can take this and let's say add some words in here and it will add up over time. So it's very easy to spread the work over time and add and enhance some small elements in there. Okay. So this is the way how simple people edit the latest translations. Done that.
Ernst Peter. Daniel, you're...
Yeah, can you also, if you have it already made, can you also just upload it? Your language?
Just wait, you're heading a bit quicker than I am. It's a great question.
Yeah. And the other question, the login you use, how do you get a login to do that?
You can just register on the DNN Connect site. So there's an open registration. But if you want to do some work for translation, there's somebody else who is a maintainer of the language translation packs. There are a number of people who can give you the rights for the particular language that you're interested in do some work for. And if you're allowed to do the work, for example, on French, you can do any kind of translation in French because we assume that you are knowledgeable in doing the French translations.
Yeah, I have a lot to contribute for all the old core modules, some third-party ones. So yeah, I definitely.
This is a way to share the efforts of different people for everyone. In Europe, there are some small differences because I know that the German user group for Sebastian Leupold is managing that, has their own website and they're charging a bit for the German translation of the different modules or try to attract people if they're interested in the German modules. So they do not share the information on dnnconnect.org because they want to attract German users to the German user group website. If I look further back into the module itself, it has an option to store the information of different language packs where they are available without being available on this website. So if this structure is implemented, the website here on DNN Connect could show that there is a German translation, for example, for easy DNN use. And if you want to download that one, it would redirect you to the German user group website. But this structure, this star structure is not implemented. I talked with Peter Donker about it. He has some gray hairs, if there's gray hairs left, and he's grown a beard. because he tried to implement them, but it was not mostly in the interest of DNN Corp. So he spent a lot of time creating things and trying to implement it. At some point in time, his energy for this particular topic was over. Okay, essentially what I've shown you, select the module to translate, download the pack, show a previous version, edit the pack if you're interested in. These are just screenshots of people who want to review that afterwards. Okay, I'm going to show a little bit more about the base culture code and adding a new version of a particular module. So now I have to log out because this is only a language editor user. I'm going to switch to my own account and I have a little bit more rights for this particular system. I'm going to show you. I have in German, I think I've uploaded it already. I have created a module which is available as well. That module is called Identity Switcher. It's a helpful module if you are developing. It enables easy changing between different users. This Identity Switcher is version 2. There are 36 elements and 100% is complete. If you want to download it, this disk is available to everyone. If you look at previous version, it's available as well. And now I see 2 different icons here. The last one is editing the base culture code. So I'm editing the base NL language. But if I'm Belgium, they have Flemish, and Flemish is 80% similar to Dutch in the Netherlands. You can edit your variation. So if I specify, and I'm going to show you all the text, I'm going to edit all the base languages in Dutch, original English version, and the base translation in NL. If I'm going to edit, I think one step too much. If I'm going to edit a variation, I'm going to look at let's say I'm not sure where I can edit, but to give it a try. The Belgium. I have to switch back. Sorry. One step back. I'm going to try the Belgian version. You'll probably see that the Identity Switcher is available here as well because the base language translation has been done. But if I go to the Dutch Belgium resource, I have the option, if it worked, and it doesn't do, probably not allowed. Try again. I take the Dutch version. Tried that before, so it should work. This one, okay, show me what was originally in the Dutch version. Show me everything, and now I get an additional column. This is what was original in the English version. This is the base language in Dutch. And if I want to make for the Dutch localized dialect, I can specify an additional text in here. So if 90% is correct, but I say here, then this text element will be in the resource pack for Dutch, whereas this is the default for all Dutch variation, in other words. And that enables us to specify only the difference for a particular variation, particular dialect. If I go to the French one, and I go to the French version, the base one, I think I've made some translation there as well for this same module. Go to Identity Switcher. But this case, only 40% has been translated. That's because I only translated version 1.1 and not version 2. I can specify, edit the French resources and show me the text elements that are in version 2 that were not translated, probably because there are new text elements that are only available in version 2. And then you get the additional text elements that should be translated in version 2. If I go back one step and I say, show me all text elements, you're probably going to see that a percentage is complete because those translations were carried over from the previous version. Include host users, inclure les utilisateurs. I don't know whether this is a typical French word, super utilisateur, but it's at least the correct formal translation of super users.
Super users, yeah.
Yeah, if you say I want to have something different, or you want to have in Canadian version something different, you can specify that this would be the default. So that's the way how you can specify and change. Let me see. Use the base culture code and add a new version in there. Ask for people, please share your translation efforts. Create an account on dnnconnect.org and ping me so I can give you the rights to do a translation for a particular version. And that's the first part, just doing the translations.
Yeah, I have pretty much all the core modules, all of them since DNN 6, and the most popular ones I have updated the translations up to now and for French.
Do you distribute them? Do you make them available to others?
I used to sell a full language pack because the French language pack for DNN was not very good. There was a lot of automatic translations, and I redid everything by hand, and I was selling that, which included DNN and all the modules when they were bundled together. When that changed, I started selling only the French language pack, and in the recent years, the one that's provided is okay. So it is more trouble now to maintain that than to give it for free.
That's right. That's what we felt in the Netherlands as well. At some point in time, we had our own translation set because we had some modules, and we want our users to use the Dutch translated versions. But at some point in time, our work is not making translation. Our work is bringing IT solutions to companies. And if I can work together with other competitors and sharing the translation, it's fine for us. So that's how we do. Now, second one, you have a particular extension that's not on the list, and you want to make this extension available in this particular module to do the translation by yourself and or others. Same trick. Upload a new extension and make it available for end users. I go back. I start at the top because that's the most easiest one. I think I have a module available. I'm going to upload this module. It's called objects in this particular module. I select a particular file. Let me find where I found that one. Let me see. Newsletters. There was no newsletter available here. If I say import package, it will crunch, use the different installation modules inside. And now I should be available a documents module in version 6.
What you just did was the language pack for that module, not the actual module.
The module pack. Not the language pack, just the full module. It doesn't install it. It only captures out of the installation pack the different resource file, the different locations where the different resource files are in the system. It just parses it, uses a standard installation routines, but it doesn't install the module on this particular site. It only captures the regex files and how it's installed in this particular installation pack.
Okay.
So it's safe for the system, but for this particular website, but because it only captures the regex files and doesn't do anything with DLLs, doesn't do anything with installation items, ASCX files or whatever. It just captures the regex files. And then I should have available a language pack possibility for the documents module. Let me see if I have one. It's probably now an empty one. because I just uploaded the module, which is original US and no translation available in here. Let me see documents. Oh, I did some work before. The documents version 6. I already did some work for that. So it's capturing my work I've done before. But it's only 50% complete, version 6. If I have a Dutch language pack as well for this particular module, I can manage that as well. And I can upload a particular language pack. And now this language pack is the one that has been generated by if you have made a particular translation on your side for this particular module. I uploaded the wrong one. I did newsletters. Sorry, I did newsletters. So I go back to Dutch newsletters, took the wrong one. Let me see. Newsletters, yes, 50 text elements, version 8, 0% done. So there's no need to do any downloading here because there's no Dutch translation in here. But wonder, at some point in time, I found somebody who did the translation for this particular module, and he or she has created a language pack for me. I'm going to upload the language pack as well. I see here the resource pack for .NET Nuke newsletters, version 8 in NL. Do I want this to map to the variation, or do I want to make this a standard for Dutch? So, okay, I know I've done the translation in my DNN version, but I'm for sure that this version, this translation is good enough for the default locale. It's going to parse all the text elements in here, showing how many are there. And if I press finish, and I go back to my newsletter module, it's probably going to show me that the percentage complete is much higher. Newsletter, 88% done. There's probably something left. Let me see what's not there. I can take this one, show me the non-translated text elements. And it's probably a little bit more in there that has not been translated before. Okay, too bad, but that's not a problem. I can do some work. I can have a review to see if the original base language is available. Let me see if I can get that one. Newsletters, this one. Show me the non-translated texts. And I see the ones that I have not translated, that's the 12% that has been left out. And that was towards work in making the preparation for this demonstration today. There are longer elements in there. So these are the originals one that were not translated and uploaded by my language pack that I've uploaded as a default NL version. Okay. Please define which modules you want to make available. Ping me with those extensions, send me an install zip file, and I can upload those particular extensions. And then after that, those extensions are available for translation. The translation is there. I've shown that. You have a partial translation. What you can do is share your language pack, upload a new improved or partial language pack for an existing module or for new modules. I've done that. That's the part of the demonstration in here. Showing the ones again. Choose a file. Don't mention the Dutch because I'm working on a Dutch installation. It will parse all the different text elements in there. It will make it map to a particular locale and then parse it and put it into the system. And then your language pack is uploaded successfully. And if there's some text elements not translated, you can easily add those ones at the end. Contributors, please share your translation efforts. Use your account on dnnconnect.org and upload your translation if you have the rights for uploading that one. To summarize, the ways to profit from the efforts that have been done before and or contribute, just download the existing language pack. They're free to the public. If you're willing to do some translation, want to spend 30 minutes or an hour or 5 minutes or a week, just mention and you will get the rights to do a particular translation. You can add and update ones. If you have particular modules, either as a developer and you say, I want this module to be available for translation by others because I want to sell the language pack together with the module, please show me the modules. If you have particular modules, say, oh, those are not there, but I'm using, let's say, Mandeep Slider, and I want the one translated and available as well. Just give me the module, the zip file, I upload it, and it will be available for translation. And if you've done a particular language pack, please send it to me or make it available if you have the rights to do the upload. So that's essentially a way of working together and sharing the information and the efforts that you have on language translations. That's essentially what's there. I have a little bit digged into the language pack modular itself, and there's some items that must and could be improved. I haven't shown you one item in there, but I'm going to show you now. Let me see. I'm going to show you all the text elements for this one. There's a particular magic stick in here. It's over here. And what it did was translate the English text here automatically in the version here using the API translation services. It could easily do it for all the text elements in one go. It's not here anymore. Oh, it's here, translate all. If this was an empty list on this side, if you press translate all, it would one by one go through all these text elements, use the Google API translation services and put the automatic translation in here. It's not 100% correct. You have to review it, but it helps if you have to do a lot of text elements. Because at this point, you see a rather small module. But if I go one step back, you will see that there are modules that have far more text elements than a couple of hundreds. For example, opt-in email, dynamic opt-in, 1200 text elements, NB store, 1200 text elements, Reddit editor, 1200 text elements. So that's a lot of work if you wanted to translation for that one. And the automatic translation via the Google API helped. Sadly enough, Google API has changed and they're charging now. You have to enter a credit card number. So the API has changed. So the working here is not available anymore. Secondly, I've been reviewing. I think we should switch to the Azure translation services, because if you do the number of translations here, it's free and you don't have to enter a credit card number in order to start using it. Second, it's a Microsoft service, and I think we should rely on the Microsoft service if possible, if we're working in the Microsoft environment. I have been start working on it, but I have not implemented this automatic translation, switching from Google API into the Microsoft Azure translation API. It's something on the list to be done. So I'm also looking for people who are willing to do something. Open source and community is always a balance between give and take. And I'm looking for 2 or 3 developers. I've done some developers for myself on there. And in return, if people want to know a little bit about GitHub to do development on DNN open source modules, I can learn you the words fork, clone, upstream, branch, stage, commit, pull, and pull request. And there are 6 or 7 words, and you're in the game of providing pull request enhancement into any kind of DNN open source module that is available on GitHub. So if you want to learn that, I gave the presentation on GitHub in Ireland as well. It will help you to start working and using GitHub and pull requests. The current language pack module is in VB.NET. It has been created by Peter Donker, I think 6 or 7 years back. Daniel has a lot of experience in converting modules from VB into C#. Did some work and code fixing, but I think it's worthwhile. So my preference would be to migrate it to C# and do some editing in there. A little bit about the background of the module, not too much, but a little bit about the background. Essentially, it's a relatively simple table structure. There are about 8 different tables holding the objects in translation and something about statistics, packaging, and so forth. And essentially, there are only 3 important tables: objects, text, and translations. Even the table structure is new and small. Object, what I'm doing, the text elements in there, where the text elements can be found, what the original value was and what it has been changed into. And then all the different translation in the different languages here. Essentially, that's the background for the application itself. It's not very difficult, but it helps a lot to do the translation. In the end, or in the beginning, what it does is it strips the regex files and makes a stable records. And once you have it in your SQL database, it's much easier to manipulate than working with regex files in an XML structure. I've made a list of suggested enhancements. I'm on the GitHub. For example, a little bit of introduction text, a little bit about statistics, about the number of languages, about the different modules, because this one doesn't say much. If you Catalan, Spanish variation, oh no, not, it's in north of Spain. It would be helpful if you have some statistics. It would be helpful if you are looking for a particular translation. That I'm looking for easy DNN use. Is there any translation in a particular language? I think there are a lot of variation in French, and I would like to collapse that one because I would like to have the display of the number of modules per language, so it would help people to find the things they are looking for. I want the public version to set SEO, search engine optimization, page title, and description. So
just on the previous slide, I'm sorry to interrupt. Just on the previous slide, let's say I'm looking for something French Canada, and the base language pack is there, but there is none specific for FRCA. It's still going to show in French Canada? Okay, cool.
You get the French Canada pack, which is essentially 100% the same as the French base language. So the base language is only, let's say, the reference set. Nothing special for Canadian one. You will get 100% correct French Canadian version of the pack, which is essentially the original base language French. You only specify if you want to have words of terminology that is in Canadian French different than it is in the original base language French. Correct. Thanks. Some more details. Set page title and description, so it would be enhanced. Set a description. I know what the different icons are. At some point or another, were text elements, but Peter has changed it into icons because they are multi-language. You only have the icons, but I like to have some icons next to it. Make the magic stick working again, so it would change from the Google API, which in there, all JavaScript online, into the Microsoft Azure. Probably going to take a couple of days to do that one. Make translate all work because it would help. Create a search engine sitemap extension. Insert in a sitemap an extension for each language pack. It's about 40 lines of code, and config the entry in the DNN manifest, so it will be handled by DNN and Google and search perfectly. So that's a small call to action. If you want to have a review and zoom in there, just have a look. DNNconnect.org community translation, free for everyone. If you want to look at the module, the program itself, it's free for everyone as well, but you don't need the module to do the translation. And if you want to study a bit more of Microsoft Azure Translation Services, this is the link for the Microsoft Translation Services. And I'm open for questions if there are any questions left at this point.
I do have, Ernst Peter. This is basically my ignorance here, so you have to forgive me if this is obvious. But on DNN9, the personal bar, you know, the labels, the text, the resources, they are dealt with the same way as previous control panels on previous versions of DNN. Correct? Is that the same system, the same process?
As far as I know, yes. Yeah.
Good. And I have a second one here, which is about translation, about multi-language, but not specifically about resources. And I'm hoping that you have some experience with that on DNN9, and maybe you can shed some light or at least give your 2 cents about your experience on DNN9. My question is this: is DNN9 the translation of pages? Again, this is not about resources. The page translation, is it working at this point in time? Because I've noticed that on earlier versions of DNN9, it was very, let's put it this way, it was not working that well. So at this point, is that working on DNN9?
I don't know.
Okay,
To be honest, for our production sites, we only implemented DNN8 so far. Because up until 9.2.1, I was not very confident that the 9.2.1 was a better solution than DNN8. Personally, I'm not a fan of the persona bar, but that might be because I'm a habit to old users of the control panel. I don't like the flipping around. I don't like the way it's spread over my screen on different parts. On the other hand, the technology in there, the iframe, is nice. So probably in future versions will enhance. Second, 9.2 introduced a breaking change for a lot of modules, so we didn't move over. I know that there are security enhancements in 9.2, 9.2.1. I have 1 or 2 clients who have an international site, and most of them create a separate site for a different language. And the content localization, which is implemented in DNN, is not as easy as people would like it to be, I think.
It changed in 9.2.2, where now you have an HTML editor that was missing, and the problem with converting from HTML entities and back, that's been resolved. However, it's still a small screen space to work comfortably, but it has been improved.
Okay. So that's answering the question, is it working in 9.2.1, 9.2.2? According to Daniel, it's better than before, but still not optimal if you're used to other CMSs that have far better services for a multi-language website.
And I still, the next ones I'm going to try them with the built-in one in 9.2.2, because I like to actually see the module in action in one window and translate in the other one, because there's a lot of terms that in English will be the same for the noun and the verb. Let's say comment. It could be a comment, or it could be the action of commenting. It could be a comment button. So you need to see that in context and try it in the language and save and refresh to know, is it the verb or the noun, where that goes,
Some CMSs have in-place translation. So you have the page in there, you click a label or a text and do the translation in there, and it will save it on that place for the particular language you're working on. And that's far more intuitive than even for this language pack translation services, because you have to know what's in there, and you have to understand a little bit about how the module works to make the correct translation. There are more things in there. For example, I would like to have a search and replace. I would like to have a list of different terms. I would have a better reference list of words to be used in a particular language. Especially if different people are working on the translation, you will see that they use different words for the same word in English. Cancel is in Dutch annuleren, but people will sometimes make it different words, stop or break or whatever. So if one person is doing one and the other person is the rest, you will see that there are inconsistency in the translation. So there are far more options to make the work better, but the language pack services on the .org at least helps to make things available on a central system. And because every text element is in the database now, it's far easier to do statistics, control, search and replace, and so forth.
And I like it also that there's the base language, and then there's the location specifics, because before, when I used to sell language-based packs, I used to make it and then copy and rename all the files and recopy and rename all the files.
Right.
So that saves a lot of time, plus it's easy to go edit something if it's local.
Right, right. You only specify the difference, and once you have done the base language French, it's available in all variations automatically with the percentage that has been done for the base FR translation.
Excellent.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other comments?
Let me stress again, that's not all my efforts. I'm just spreading the word what's available in here. I think you have to give Peter Donker credits that he's been working on this particular part for so many years, and at some point in time said somebody else has to do it because I'm frustrated in the implementation worldwide. And that's not because that technology behind it, because I think because the necessity of different languages was a little bit on a lower priority list of DNN Corp, which from a commercial standpoint, I can understand to a certain extent. So it helps. And what we have done, we had made Dutch translations. I've uploaded all the Dutch translations in there. We have gathered from Ukraine and people I speak. I say, do you have something? Please give it and make it available here.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, okay, good. So, Ernst Peter, I'm gonna take back here the presentation.
Yep.
And let me do that. So make presenter. And let me see here. Let me move things around. Okay. Perfect. So once again, Ernst Peter, thank you very much for doing this. Guys, just so you know, Ernst Peter took the day off tomorrow. His tomorrow, no, our tomorrow. His
Today. Yeah.
Today, yes. His today, our tomorrow. He took the day off to do this presentation because it's 2 in the morning for him. So again, once again, thank you very much, Ernst Peter, for your time here and for doing
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, woohoo! Let's wrap things up here. So questions already, we had a few. Meeting wrap up. I just want to finish by saying that we already have our next presentation. So I'm getting better at this. I'm learning from people like Dave Poindexter, Ryan Moore. I'm getting myself organized. So I'm booking presenters ahead of time. So we have already a presentation scheduled for October 3rd, and it will be done by Kelly Ford from Prompt. So he'll be talking about Prompt, where Prompt is. Prompt was talked a lot about a year ago and last DNN Summit as well. And again, I wanted to reconnect with him and see where Prompt is, what is him up to in terms of Prompt. And that's what our next presentation in October will be about. Again, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Once again, Ernst Peter, thank you very much for your time. Anything else? I mean, anybody? Can we go? Can we depart? Gave you 1. I'll give you 2. And I'll give you 3. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one. Bye. See you in a month.